Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Beliefcast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester, your host of the Beliefcast. Today, I have Scott Harrison as my guest. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Guys, a little bit about Scott. You guys are in for a good one today. He's a best-selling author, mindset expert, and founder of the Six-Pack Revolution, a global transformation movement that has helped thousands reshape their lives through structure, accountability, and emotional clarity. From Olympians to parents and professionals in 90-plus countries, Scott's method is redefining how adults from 18 to 86 approach sustainable health and personal growth. His new Pause program, created especially for women in menopause, is changing lives all over the world. He's a speaker. He's a coach. He's got millions of followers. He's written a couple children's books. He's a black belt. I'm just so many things, and I'm so excited to get into this. So thank you guys for tuning in. And Scott, why don't we start off? Tell us where you're currently located and a little bit about your background.
Okay, so I live in Bishop Stortford in the United Kingdom, which is about 5 minutes from Stansted Airport. So a lot of people will know Stansted Airport. So not too far from there, which is handy for me if I ever want to go anywhere. And
right.
Yes, at the age of 42, I decided that I was going to change my life. I was sick of being the overweight dad in the playground and stuff like that. And I decided I was going to get myself a six-pack. And I blogged it.
Nice.
And I blogged it on Facebook, believe it or not. And 30 odd people wanted to join me. I said, look, I'm not messing around here. We're going to do this properly. So if you're in, you're in. And the results I got from that little group were people couldn't believe what they'd seen. So I was begged to do another one. And I did another one several months later, and we had 120 join that one.
Wow.
And then to cut a long story short, we are our 10th year next year, and we've got tens of thousands of participants, as you say, 90 countries across the world, aged 18 to 86. People with different abilities, different disabilities, different creeds, different colors, different cultures, different seasonal foods, different mindsets, different careers, different religion. Everybody in the world has come through my hands, every different spectrum you could ever think of. And it's been an amazing journey for myself and a learning for myself.
Yeah.
And
wow.
and I've just learned so much over the last 10 years. It's been incredible. I was a trader in the city when I left school back in that. If you want to go that far back, I loved that job, and I constantly push myself. I've been very, very lucky, very successful in anything I've ever done with the mindset that I've got. And don't get me wrong, I've failed more times than I've achieved, but that's quite common for us people. And I've been blessed now to do a job that I actually love. So even though I don't get a day off, it's 7 days a week. I totally in love with it, and I get to help so many other people. So it's a blessing.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, again, I really respect what you do, and I love the way you carry yourself, and I'm really excited to get into some topics with you. You know, why don't we start off? What was your wake-up moment for you, like the wake-up call where you decided, man, I need to change my life? Like, what was going on when you decided, you know what, I got to do something different here?
Well, that was when I was picking up those kids from school. I was looking at the parents, and there was many that were overweight, bloated, buckling at the knees, poisoned looking, and they were all running out to their role models. And I was thinking to myself, well, that's not very good, is it? But I realized I was one of them.
Okay.
So that was it. That was in December 15. And then my New Year's resolution in January was this six-pack thing, which has just changed my life completely, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, healthily. And it's been, it's kind of really tweaked all the things I had in me from the 40 odd years of life that I'd had, it kind of brought it all together and made it all make sense. And then to be able to now affect so many other people, it's an extremely rewarding position to be in.
Absolutely. No, again, that's amazing that you saw that you needed to make a change and then you went for it. You know, you talk a lot about mindset and transforming the way you think. You know, you look back, I mean, how did you learn these skills about mindset? Was it something that you just kept practicing at, or did you have a mentor or a coach in your life that kind of showed you the way?
Well, all through my life, I think a lot of us have people we look up to, and we would say that, you learn a lot from all different types of people. But I think when I could look right. Sorry, I'm gonna go backwards and forwards. So
Sure.
I read the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. You've probably heard of The Secret.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I found it. I mean, I know a lot of people, for some reason, say it's negative stuff about it, but I didn't. I found it really helpful for me. And then when I started to look back at my life and the way I'd constantly been someone who believed in themselves, someone who, no matter when the chips were down, I still knew that I was going to come out of it somehow and I was going to find a way over the obstacles. And I always had that kind of mindset. And I always tried my best to mostly focus on what I wanted instead of constantly focusing what I didn't want. I never constantly spent my time, even when things went wrong, thinking, oh, the world's against me, or I never would assume the worst case scenario. I'd always assume the best case scenario. And now looking back on all of that, I don't know why I was built that way, but looking back on it now, after reading books like that and several, crikey, hundreds of books since,
Sure.
I can see that when you connect and keep that positive energy, then you are more likely to see the opportunities and make the better use of what's in front of you, rather than blocking yourself off from it, assuming the world's against you all the time.
Right. No, I love that. You know, you not only help adults, you obviously are passionate about helping children. And I would like to ask, where did that come from? Why do you also focus on the younger generation, if you will?
Well, I've always been a poet from as long as I can remember. And also I'm very good at rhyming. So you could give me a couple of subjects and I can rhyme away. Or like that rapper that you just say, he just gives you loads. You give him a load of subjects. I can't remember his name. No, in America, he's great. I can't think of his name. One who's on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff. But so I'm very good at rhyming, and I've written poems. Like every event, I'm expected to write a poem. If it's someone's birthday, I've got to write a poem. If it's some work event, I'll be writing the poem. So I sat down, and the first children's book I wrote was based on me, actually. It's called Grumpy Gorilla and Happy Hippo. And the subheading is A Positive Tale for All to Read. So it's a real message to the parents reading the book to the kids as well as the kids as well. And it was about, I found myself in a position where I was snapping all the time. I was shouting all the time. I would just get angry at the slightest thing.
Right.
And my wife one day pulled me to one side and she said, "Do you know what? You was away this weekend. It was a much more calmer environment."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, because I got into a habit of snapping rather than actually for any reason.
Right.
So I didn't want my family to think that of me, did I? So I looked at myself and worked all of that out. And then I wrote the book on it. And
Nice.
It's about two best friends. And everything goes wrong for Gorilla because he's always focusing on the downside. And therefore, people didn't want to be around him so much. And therefore, he didn't have so many friends. And then that created more misery. And his best friend, though, the one friend he did have was Happy Hippo. And he was always focusing on all the good stuff and assuming the best in everybody and always a happy chappy. So it was how he taught his friend Gorilla how to look at life from a different perspective, therefore become a happier. And there's a bit of nutrition and exercise in there as well, just for. The reason I did this was because I feel like we as adults, usually later in life, we will look at personal development. So we'll look at reading books like The Secret and The Gap and the Gain and The Essence of Success and all these great books and the Let Them theory and all that stuff. But it's not really things we would have read at the age of 20 or 10. Right. So I thought, wouldn't it be good if I could create some personal development books written in beautiful rhyme? They're very Gruffalo-esque type vibes, but right. all about how to look at life in a positive way and how to make friends and how to communicate and how to eat well and how to exercise. I would say that my kids were reading or having these books read to them at the age of 2.
Wow. That's amazing.
I thought it would be great to get in really early and just get that mindset going because between 0 and 5 is when you're influenced the most.
Right.
It's when you're programmed the most. So, this is a psychology. I've got a psychology diploma and I'm very into it. So this is a very well-known thing that, believe it or right. not, 0 to 5 is when you're mostly programmed. Can you believe it's that early?
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, I've heard that our brain at that age is in theta state, which is very suggestible. And so reading these kind of books would be fantastic, kind of setting the stage and setting these mindsets at a young age. I mean, what a great idea. And I think that's fantastic.
I've given these books to almost 100 schools as well. So I've managed to get them around the country. I just gave them.
That's great. No, I love that you, again, like also focus on the younger generation. I think that's important. Going back to, I want to talk to you about, I work with a lot of people in the mental health arena, people who have struggled with addictions and things like that. And I want you to just talk about the importance of not only eating well, but also the importance of taking care of our body physically. Like, how does that play a role in our mental health?
Right. So first of all, let me talk to everybody listening about exercise. From this podcast onwards, if you're not already, you are going to exercise every week until you leave the planet. It should be non-negotiable. Do not have the conversation with yourself, am I going to or am I not? If you don't want a frame around your toilet when you're older, you don't want a seat in your bath, you want to still dance on the beach, you want to run through the forest, you still want to be able to walk up your stairs without help, you don't want an orthopedic chair in your lounge, and you don't want an alarm around your neck because when you fall over, you can't get yourself back up again, you've got to call an ambulance, then you have to exercise. Yeah. It's great for your bone density, your muscle tone, your joints, your posture. It's a massive investment in your future. And every time you switch exercise, sitting on the sofa, scrolling through TikTok to exercising, you are adding to your pension pot of life. Wow. It's something you have to start now.
Yeah.
So let's make that clear. Now,
I like it.
When you exercise, the physical benefits I just told you, but what it does for your mind is like a 360 whole encompassing effect. So obviously it's better for your sleep. If you sleep better, you function better. Anxiety, when you less anxiety, less cortisol running around your body, less stress on your body, less inflammation. What does inflammation cause? Chronic illnesses, and so on and so on. So this is the only place we've got to live in.
Right.
So you have to look after it. Now you do that by eating well and exercising.
Right.
And if you actually put the word, excuse me, I'm combining fitness and exercise and food together at the moment.
Sure.
If you put any chronic illness in the world and then the word diet next to it, it will look like I've written it for you. Now that's not because what I do is not actually that clever. I just feed the human body how it should be fed.
Right.
And I just tell you to eat that way before you're ill. rather than wait till you're ill to eat that way.
Mm.
Now, at the end of my program, I teach everyone how to keep their life-changing results and still party twice a week. So you get the best of both worlds, but you've got to create a body that can party twice a week and not get affected by the damage. If at the moment someone comes to me and they're going to be out of shape mostly. I mean, I have got Olympians and all sorts, but that's just most people. When you're out of shape, your metabolism is low. If you start pulling your food through the floor, meaning you're eating loads less and bring your calories down, you are not nourishing your body, you are malnourishing your body, and therefore you're going to bring your metabolism down. Well, hang on, it's already down. We don't want to bring it down more. That's like kicking you in the head while you're on the floor. So what I do is something completely different. I don't even talk about calories really. And that's why my results outperform everyone else worldwide, because I don't do what they do. Most fitness programs, nutrition programs are just, bring your calories here and your energy here. And as long as your calories, and it doesn't actually work quite that way. So instead of bringing everyone's food down to the person, trying to bring their calories down below their metabolism, which is what most fitness things always calories deficit, right? I bring everyone up past it as an analogy.
Okay.
So I make sure they get everything the body needs to thrive, all the vitamins, the minerals, the botanicals, the protein, the carbs, the fats, the micronutrients, the water, so that they build a machine that works at its optimum. When it works at its optimum, it burns fuel efficiently, which is fat. It also builds and maintains muscle. Your hair, your skin, the whites of your eyes, your teeth, your nails all become more radiant. Also, we have a 100% success rate in chronic illnesses like ME, MS, fibromyalgia, eczema, psoriasis, Crohn's, IBS, Guillain-Barré syndrome, Hashimoto's, lymphedema, lipedema, scoliosis, sleep apnea, blood pressure, cholesterol, menopause.
Wow.
All becoming either a much more manageable level or into complete remission. Wow. And that's within weeks, not
incredible.
months. And it's because you are what you eat. If you think about it, every cell in your body is fed only one way, by what goes through your mouth.
Right.
Unless you're on a drip. Forgot about a drip.
Right.
It's what goes through your mouth, right? It's the only way it's fed, yeah? So we've all been putting diesel into our petrol engines since the day we were born. Full fat milk, bread, butter, crisp, sweet, chocolate, biscuit, cakes, jarred sauces, sugar, salt, caffeine, alcohol. And, if you think about it, when you hit kind of, I don't know how old you are, Todd, but I'm going to give you a little insight into my life for a second.
Okay.
I was probably managing to get cigarettes. I mean, I don't smoke. I haven't smoked since I was just behind the bike sheds. So I'm not a smoker. But back then, I think I was getting cigarettes at the age of 12, probably getting a bottle of something to take over the park at 14, 15. By 16, we were in the pubs because you could get away with it back then. Just say you were 16. There's no ID thing really going on back in the day. By 18, we're drinking every opportunity at 18, aren't you? And you're not just drinking normally, you're doing shots with after another drink. And that's not including any other drugs that all your listeners might have tried as well. I'm just talking about the acceptable ones, right? And we wonder why we cough, splutter, and stop. And we wonder why we suffer with all these things we suffer with. Because we're just poisoning ourselves all the time. But the great thing about the human body is it bounces back really quick. So when you do a program like mine of 75 days, there's no cheat days, there's no alcohol, but we eat lots of delicious food. More food, actually, than you're probably eating now. We eat a lot. I often get said, Scott, I can't eat it. I just tell them, eat it. Within a few weeks, you'll be begging me for more, which they do.
Right.
And what does that show you? If in week 1, you're stuffed, and in week 4, you're starving, but you're eating the same quantity, then what that's showing you is that your metabolism is now flying and you're burning that fuel efficiently and the body's using it effectively.
Gotcha.
What does that do? That creates a mind that's no longer out of balance, no longer incapable to cope, because we're built to cope with pressure, stress, mourning, grief, obstacles. But when these things come our way, because we don't eat or drink properly, our brain isn't working at its optimum. So we can't handle it, and everything seems a lot worse than it really is. So you find out really quickly that the anxiety disappears when you eat properly and you exercise. And also, when things come your way that are slightly off, you can handle it so much better.
Wow. No, that sounds amazing. And this is all kind of spelled out in that in the 75 days that you map that out for the person.
We tell you exactly what to eat every day, what to drink every day, and what to think every day. I work on their head as well. But we are live with you all day, every day. So there's ask a question, it's answered in minutes. We're all live, morning, noon, and night with everyone. So I've got 180 coaches.
That's rare. I mean, I know there's a lot of programs, you know this better than I do, but that's rare to have that type of response, because I think it's part of the frustration is where someone gets a program, they get kind of lost in it, not sure what to do, and then they don't get a response back for a couple of weeks or no response at all. So for you to do that sets you apart right there.
But that includes me. I'm in every group. So I can have, in our groups, we have about 100 odd people in each group. And I've had 70 groups running at a time. and I'm in all of them. And I speak to people every day. And if people's heads go, I jump in and I help pull their minds around. It's one of my favourite parts of the job, to be fair. And I've done I've done a lot of talking and live speaking and motivating and getting people to stop. So many people are warriors. So many people are still guilty about the past, So you're worrying about the future, guilty about the past, but the future doesn't exist. The past doesn't exist. You spend all this time worrying about things that don't exist.
Right.
So I try and get people to bring them back to actually where life is, which is today only.
Right. Yeah. I love that. It's powerful. Again, you got your hands in a lot of things. You're doing so good at all of them. You've come up with a program called the Pause program. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have a lot of females who tune into this program. Would you explain what that is and why this is so important?
Yeah, sure. So first of all you ladies listening, I'm a man. And I'm not going to go through menopause. So clearly I know absolutely nothing. We'll put that out there straight away. But what I will say is I'm actually an accredited menopause wellness practitioner because I wanted to get the information, get the qualification so that I could understand when I'm looking after my team, which is all ladies on the Pause program. They are all menopause wellness practitioners as well. Plus, I have many experts on my programs too, which I'll explain in a second. So how did Pause come about? So on the six-pack revolution, we were getting ridiculous success with menopause. Ladies were coming to us with years and years of nightmare situations, and we were either, as I said earlier, bringing their symptoms to a much more manageable level or to complete remission within weeks. And I was getting professionals all over the country contacting me saying, Scott, what is it you're doing? Because my client's been with you for 2 weeks. She's got no symptoms anymore. What is it you're doing? And I said, look, I have to admit I'm an imposter. I didn't create this program for the menopause, but it just so happens it's the most successful program on planet Earth for the menopause. Now, when you go and research that deeper, you will find that actually menopause can be managed with nutrition, exercise, and mindset, and in many ways much more effective and quicker than medication. Wow. If you look at countries like Japan, for example, they obviously, every lady in Japan will go through the menopause, but their symptoms are like 10%, whereas in the UK, US, and the West, it's 90%.
Mm.
And that's because of the way they eat, the way they drink, and how they think. And
Yeah.
what Six Pack Revolution does is changes your relationship with food, with drink, and with yourself, so that you get your power back. I say, I hand you the key to happiness. Whether you use it every day or not is up to you, but you'll have it. You'll know exactly what to do to be happy.
Yeah.
So I then got invited to Malta on a podcast called The She Word, which is only ladies, actually. It's 4 ladies sitting around a table, and I got a special invite. They did say at first I have to dress up as a lady, but I got away with not doing that because I said, come, this is serious. This, we can't make fun of it. It might not land. So I got away with that one. I was a bit worried.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting around this table, and we're doing a podcast out there. And we were just talking about everything menopause. And what the ladies were saying to me is that they felt like the forgotten people. They said it's easier to get help with erectile dysfunction than it is with menopause.
Yeah.
So I can remember walking out of the building and my head just going, I'm not going to forget you. So I got home. I wrapped my world in menopause. I got all the professionals that I needed that were world class. But to be fair, a lot of them were already on my team because I have a GP on my team. She's a specialist in HRT. I've got an Olympian on the team who's a specialist in bladder health and pelvic floor. I've got another one who works closely with me. She's a CBT trauma something or other. She got so many letters after her name, I can't even tell you. Like, it's unbelievable. Her qualifications are ridiculous. I've got another. Literally, it was all in front of me. Again, I'm manifesting everything I need. I come back. I was going to go looking elsewhere, and my head coach said to me, so and so's a blah blah specialist. So-and-so. I'm like, really? So I just grabbed this team together. And we sat down. It's obviously ladies, and we created for ladies. And I just really sort of, this time I was stepping back a little bit and just taking what we already know and what we already do and then wrapping it in menopause. So we didn't want to change the nutrition because that was what gives the menopause magic. That's why people were calling me going, what are you doing, Scott? So you can't change that bit.
Right.
But what we did is we then created low impact weight training, which is for, ladies at that time of life to improve their bone density and all of those things. We've got CBT mindfulness aimed at menopause, so to calm your mind, and Pilates as well. And then also with all the live Zooms, because on the Six Pack Revolution, I do all the live Zooms. I do Mindset Zoom, and I do this Zoom and that Zoom. In pause, I've got experts that come in and share their wisdom, as I said, on HRT, bladder health, pelvic floor, the psychology of menopause, and so on and so on. There's loads. And it's been received so well. Like, even people that have done other six-pack programs before have gone, this is by far the best one we've ever done, especially for us in this time of life. You've really nailed it. And the funny thing is, it's the one that I'm least visible in because I sort of sit back and go, you ladies get on with it. I do pop up. I do a motivational Zoom and stuff like that. And I explain the program, what you've got to do eating wise and stuff like that. So I explain all that bit. But other than that, I step back and the ladies have taken over.
Wow. That's amazing. And again, I love how you had that mindset of when you went through that, you said, I'm not going to forget you guys. And obviously you're showing up for them. And I think, because I've never heard of a program like this until I started researching you, Scott. And I think this is amazing. And I'm thinking of my own family and people in my own family that need this. I was joking a little bit at the beginning. In fact, I was on stage at the largest menopause event in London on Saturday just gone. And I did the same thing again. I just started up and went, I've been on many a stage, ladies, and this one I'm more scared to death than any other because I've got 3,000 menopausal ladies just staring at me thinking, what on earth does he know? Actually, because I've spoken to so many menopausal women, I actually know quite a bit. But I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Beliefcast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode.
I don't want to, I'm not fair.
Yeah.
But but I don't know the lived experience. I only know the explanation experience, if that makes sense from what I've been explained by others. But what was I saying? I turned up for So even though I was on stage on Saturday and I went to this podcast before, I didn't want to, I didn't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? As you said, I didn't want to forget them. I didn't want to take what they said lightly. I wanted to come back and go, do you know what? There is no other program like it anywhere. What we do here. So it's a unique thing, but it's so successful. Wow. And that if you follow it 100%, 7 days a week, all the way through, it will change your life forever. And that's physically, mentally, healthily, emotionally, and menopausally, if there is such a word.
Right.
And that's the same on all of the programs as well. The physical, mental, and emotional wins and the health wins.
Right. I know, Scott, from my own personal life, I know when I work out consistently, I eat well. It's amazing how I show up differently that day. I've got more energy. I have a more powerful mindset. I can handle, maybe challenges so much easier. And so I couldn't agree with you more. And I love that you're doing this and making a difference in the world. I mean, obviously you're doing this globally. You work with a lot of celebrities. You also work with a lot of just kind of everyday people. Do you see a difference of mindset between, like, say, a celebrity versus maybe someone who's just, your average person?
Yes, depends on the person. But what's a kind of common thread with most celebrities? Although I've had a couple that have been amazingly focused, but a lot of them, they're a bit scatty. So what I mean by that is that, like, they're so being pulled from pillar to post that it's very hard for them to like get their head down and focus as well as I'd like them to. But I do my best, use my skills to get them as close to nailing it as possible. I mean, I've had some that have been amazing, been as good as I have with it. But I have found that some of them can be very hard work, and to get them to make the food, so that they'll be lucky if they've got someone that can make it for them, or will go out and buy it for them. And whereas there've been a couple like that, and they're not always as easy to get them to call you back or communicate with. You might try and contact them and get an answer from them, and it might take days to get a response.
Yeah.
So that can be a little bit of the celebrity world like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I've got close to a lot of them, made very good friends, and they've really helped me organically spread the word as well, because I've been in every magazine, newspaper, various TV shows, myself, and with the celebrities, or the celebrities on their own talking about the program. So I've had lots of exposure like that. So it's been really, really grateful for all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, again, very successful. And again, it's an honor to have you here. We mentioned at the beginning, you're also a black belt, and I'd love to just get your thoughts on that, and when did that start, when you decided to go into that? And then tell us kind of what you've learned, through that process of becoming a black belt, because that obviously is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, there's a few stories for that, but I started my martial arts life when I was about 10, and I did judo, jiu-jitsu, and I found karate a little bit later. But then I fell in love with it even more, and that's when I really started to focus. And talking about mentors, my sensei, or my shian is what it was called, because he was like a seventh Dan or something ridiculous. And and he's like 5'2". Like, you wouldn't believe the power of this man and the speed and whatever. But anyway, and we became really close friends. So I would go and meet him in the day. He wouldn't even charge me at this point. I was his protege, whatever you want to call it. So he really sort of like worked with me, and we would eat together in the daytime, lunchtime, very healthy meal. We would train. He would train me every day. I would practice. I mean, I went to a national competition where I was doing like against other black belts from the country, and my teacher went into the competition as well, right?
Okay.
Because he was asked to by the board, and he basically would have come first, but he pulled out, which allowed me to come third. So if he hadn't pulled out, I wouldn't have got a place. So he pulled out, I think, just to help me out, because he shouldn't have really been in it anyway, to be fair. But he was so good, they wanted him just more for the show, to be honest. So I got into that, and obviously lots of discipline, lots of appreciation, lots of understanding the body a little bit more. I didn't really know the nutrition side back then. This was just, training and technique. I was very technical. I used to love all the katas. I'd practice for hours and hours, and just to try and get the right moves correct and stuff like that. And I think it kind of shapes you really well. But then what happened before my black belt? Can you believe what's the chances? I'm cutting something in the kitchen the night before, and I go straight through my finger.
Oh man!
And it goes. I've still got the scar. It goes down about halfway here. Sorry, down there. Yeah. And I'm like, I've got a fight tomorrow. Like, what am I going to do? So I've wrapped it up and everything, and it was just splitting. So it's bleeding as everything I was doing. It was splitting open. So in the end, there's a part of your black belt where you have to do a kata. You know what a kata is? It's like a prearranged form of movement. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Whilst 3 other black belts are hitting you, and you can't come out. You have to keep your technique, and you can't. So they're punching you in the stomach and kicking you in the legs. You can't buckle or anything. You just got to keep the technique. And this blooming finger was like doing my head in. But it sort of helped me, because I was focusing more on the finger than I was on being smacked in the ribs.
Right.
And then I had to spar afterwards with someone. In the end, I just put it behind my back. I put my arm behind my back just to completely ignore it. And also it gave me a bit of I thought I was in a movie. So my mindset, switched to even, I felt more powerful with one arm, if that makes sense. So my head had to go somewhere else. So when you talk about belief and power, and I can see the thing on your wall there, like those, it's surprising how, again, obstacle in life, I overcome it by using this.
Yeah. Love it.
It kind of got a bit Rocky Balboa in my brain, because because I was like, I'm fighting one-handed. I'm tougher than everyone. Where technically I wasn't. I was weaker than everyone, because I was. But my head changed that. So
it's amazing how powerful the mind is, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, and I try my best to get people to have that mindset. Life's too short. Life's way too short to not. You haven't got time to mess around with thinking everything's going. And what I try and also explain to people is life is full of obstacles, and it's supposed to be full of obstacles, because that's where we learn, where we move forward, where we gain knowledge, where we get stronger. Look, it's great sitting in a jacuzzi drinking champagne and playing on the beach with the kids, but you learn nothing. You just sit and you just play. Yeah. You only really learn when the things get tough. And also, when you look at words like tough and struggle and hard, they're good words. If you stop looking at them as bad words.
Right.
They're good words. And the more of those things you have, the more you become.
Yeah. Love it. Do you
And you've
mind,
got to
Scott?
use sorry, one of my quotes. Sorry to quote my own quote. I got about 150 of them, but
Oh,
I
good.
wake up in the night sometimes and write them down. They're in my head, in my dreams. I write them down. One of my quotes, which I think is really important, is use life's obstacles as a reason to fight, not an excuse to fall.
I love that.
You know,
That's
so
beautiful.
often we allow things to come in front of us and we go, oh, no, I'm not going, I'm going to lay down and let that walk all over me. You know, you're just wasting time.
Dang. I love that. You know, if you don't mind me asking, Scott, how old are you?
I'm now 52.
52. And the reason why I'm asking is, one, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
And
I'll work on it.
yes, you do. And that's kind of what I want to point out is obviously you look the way you do because you don't just write books and speak. You practice the very things that you're teaching. Fair?
I do. I walk the walk. I couldn't possibly, I'm very authentic, so I couldn't possibly tell other people. I mean, I'm pretty tough. You know, they call me the Sergeant Major with love because I'll tell you exactly how it is. And you might not like the truth, but you'll get it from me. But I'll also cuddle you and be there for you every minute of every day if you need me.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that's why people gravitate towards you and why your program and your coaching and all that has been so successful. And again, just the way you carry yourself, it's really impressive. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's great for me because I can still party twice a week. I've got myself to that place, so I can stay looking like this, feeling like this. You know, I'm fitter than most people half my age. You know, there's not many people that. And I'm not. Listen, I'm not fit like there's a gazillion people much fitter than me, obviously. But you know, I'm at a normal. I would say a normal level of good fitness, good strength.
Right.
But I also eat well.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where the real magic happens. 90% of the magic is done with the food.
Oh yeah, I've always heard the 6-pack is built in the kitchen.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We talk about 6-packs, but the 6-pack revolution actually is not a lot to do with 6-packs. You know, my biggest demographic is 35 to 55-year-old men and women, mum and dad bods, going from a size 18 to a size 12. I mean, we've gone from 18 to a 10 before, no saggy skin. Again, because we feed you and nourish you to fat loss, not starve and malnourish you to it.
Starve you, yeah.
And 36 waist down to a 30, but strong. You know, everyone looks so strong and alive. And if you look at the eyes if you look at the results on our websites and on our Instagrams, there's tens of thousands of them. It's unbelievable how many. But just look at I like looking at their eyes. At the beginning, they look empty and lost. And then afterwards, they're sparkling and sexy and confident, you know. And a lot of people say, get lost in the 6-pack revolution and find yourself. And that's exactly what we do.
Yeah. Well, I've seen those pictures and they're amazing. The transformation, you just go, wow, that is unbelievable how different they look. But like you said, they've got this glow about them. They've got the lights back on in their life, right? You know, and you referred to this quote on the back of my wall that I have. It's the most powerful. It says the most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire. And, you know, I think that's kind of how you live your life, Scott, is you're on fire, man. And it's because you fuel right, you exercise right, and then you got your mind right.
Yeah. When this works, everything works.
Yeah.
And everything feeds each other. You know, it's like a big circle.
For sure.
You can exercise 20 times a week. If you're not eating right, you've still got the inflammation. The hormones are still all over the place. You're still foggy. You got the energy is a bit weak. You know, you can't handle this. You can't handle that. Yeah. And the thing is, it takes only 75 days, which is 10 weeks and 5 days. So 10 weeks and 5 days of your life to change your next 50 years.
Yeah, that's totally worth it when you look at it like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
beautiful.
Also the ripple effect in your relationships and your work and your friends and your kids and your home. It's unbelievable what just changing something so simple does for you.
No, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. I always like to ask this question towards the end. If there's someone that's listening to you right now, Scott, they're kind of in a dark place and they're really in a battle and a struggle and they're feeling down, what would you tell that one person tuning in and listening to you right now?
Right. So I would say that when we are dealt a blow in life, and we all will be dealt a blow in life, no one gets away with it scot-free, pardon the pun,
Right.
and not even the Queen, right? Everyone has this stuff, okay? So what I would say is, first of all, you need to accept that life is like that. And there's always someone who has it worse off. There'll be people that don't have it as bad as you. So just first of all, accept that life is going to be a little bit crappy sometimes, okay? Or even a lot crappy sometimes.
Yeah.
But what do we do when we are dealt a blow? We need to strengthen our foundations, not weaken them.
Mm.
Now, if you're going to go and hit the bottle, not look after yourself, close yourself in a room, shut the curtains, smoke yourself to death, do drugs, whatever it is, or drink, or just eat poorly, that isn't strengthening your foundations. That's pushing yourself further down a hole. It's going to take you a lot longer to get out. So the first thing you must do is strengthen those foundations. Well, how do you do that? Well, there's only one way. You eat properly and you exercise. It's the biggest antidepressant in the world. It's free.
Yeah.
And it's more effective than most medicines. Now, listen, I know there's a place for antidepressants and psychotic drugs and stuff. If you're that far gone, that's different. That you need some more medical intervention.
Sure.
But if you're feeling just a bit down and a bit lost, or you've lost someone important to you and you've got really depressed about it, you just have, within a week, it will change your life.
Dang.
And when you nourish your body, by default, you nutrify your mind. And you will find out very quickly that you've just built the most powerful partnership, where you'll realize that anything is possible. When your body and mind are together, nothing can stop you. Back on your wall again.
Yep. No, so true.
You set like that human soul when you, just by eating and exercising. That's all you have to do. Is literally that simple.
No, I love it. Well said. Well said. Great advice. If people want to reach out to you, Scott, and learn more about your program and your coaching and your, get a copy of some of your children's books and, just get into everything you're doing, what's the best way for them to do that?
So our program, you can go to thesixpackrevolution.com. Don't forget the thesixpackrevolution.com.
Okay.
Our menopause program is on there, but you can also it's also got its own website called pauseby6.com. So that's PAUSEBYSIX, pauseby6.com. I've got my recipe and my transformation books you'll get them from Amazon. So it's called Eat Your Way to a Six Pack is one of them, and the other one is called High Protein Meals in Minutes. My children's books, I've given them all to schools, so there aren't any children's books on sale at the moment. But I'm looking to write a third and then bring out the trilogy. So that's
that'd
later.
Be great. Okay,
that's later.
Yeah.
And I think that's and you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and X and everywhere, and it's at the Six Pack Revolution.
At the Six Pack.
And if you want to follow me, because I do other bits and bobs personally, then it's at I am Scott Harrison.
Great. Yeah, and that's also your own personal website too, iamscottharrison.com. And
there's not much going on there, to be honest. I did that when I've done the kids' books and stuff, and
gotcha.
I'll probably rejuvenate that at some point, but I didn't even know you knew that existed, that one. But I will probably be rejuvenating that at some point. I'm just so busy doing everything else. It's I've got a big year coming next year, so lots of new things happening.
Wow. Well, I love what you're doing, Scott. I love how you took some of your own challenges and now you faced them, you conquered them, and now you're out helping other people, which is amazing to me. And I think you're just very inspiring, and I really am grateful that I had the time to actually sit down with you here and interview you all the way. You're coming all the way from the UK, and that's on the other side of the world right now. So I don't know, it's a blessing to be here with you, Scott.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate you taking your time to invite me onto your podcast. And it's been great to meet you. And hopefully our paths will cross again one day.
I hope so. And I'm gonna get some of your programs and stuff. I got some family members that could use that as well. And obviously I'll put all those links on the show notes when we go live. And we'll send as many people as we can and keep you even more busy.
Great. Yeah, as it goes, the US is our second largest country actually of participation. Nice. So yeah, I'm hoping it gets bigger out there, because there's a lot of people out there could use the help. I know.
Oh yeah, the US needs it for sure.
Yeah, they do.
For sure. Well, hold tight. Don't. Let me just wrap up the show, and then I want to talk with you a little bit more. But I just want to tell everyone, thank you for tuning in. Again, thanks to my sponsors. I appreciate you guys so much. It means the world to me. Please share this episode with your loved ones. If you have someone who's struggling with their health, either mentally or physically or emotionally, send them a link to this episode and have them learn more from Scott and check out all his links and, get his program. And you won't regret it. Like you said, if you get your mind and body right, anything's possible. You can do anything. And I really believe that. So love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And Scott, best of luck to all the good you're doing in the world. And thanks for being who you are. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And much love to everybody.